Bam, we're live. All right, let's get everybody set up. Be here in a minute. All right. Okay, we're about to get started here. Welcome, welcome. All right, we're talking about remodeling and why giving your guys free pizzas. What we mean when we talk about company culture. Yeah, Papa John's. That's what a lot of people think when you say, "Hey, let's make sure we have good culture here at the company." So if you want to run a real company, it's more than just giving the guys free pizza. So, culture is like this little buzzword. Everybody likes to say culture. Um, I personally have my own feelings on it, and that's what I'll share. And you're obviously all entitled to your own personal feelings about how you want to run it. I would not tell people that my business is like being part of a family. The reality is most people's families are pretty messed up. Everybody's got like that weird uncle, and there's a bunch of people that have mental issues. There's always somebody with drug and alcohol addictions. I mean, families have problems, and sometimes some people come into your company didn't really have the best experience with their family growing up. So I don't know if that's what I would say to people. I would use, I'm not saying use the word culture, but you want to talk about the environment and the way you're going to treat people, the way your company goes about running your business. That's what we mean when we're talking about culture. It's the little things, right? It's what do your guys do behind the scenes when you're not watching, right? Are they trustworthy or are they going to steal and take advantage of things? That's your culture, all right? And sometimes, if you're not being cognizant of it, you're going to hire people that do things that you would never imagine in 100 years that you would ever do, but the guys do it because you weren't even thinking about it when you hired them. Yeah, good evening, contractor David. Welcome. So, look, I was born and raised the way that I was, and my family tried to teach me certain things. I either adopt them or I rebel against them, right? And eventually I grow up and I go and do life the way I want to do it. Now, my brothers, other people in my family, it doesn't mean that we all view the world the same way and operate the same way and given the same set of circumstances are all going to do the same thing. A lot of times there's a lot of variables. And within your company, you got to remember that there are people in your company that are going to do. Thanks, contractor Damon. Appreciate that. There's going to be a lot of people in your company that are going to do possibly different things and handle the situation different than you would, right? I mean, you guys could be opening up a wall and realize that somebody started stacking thousands of dollars in that wall to hide it at one point in time. What does your company do? Does the helper steal it, keep it? Do you tell them, hey, give it to me and I'll split it with you? Do you not tell the homeowner? I don't know what you're going to do. And you have to understand, like, what do you think your company would do based in that situation? That's kind of what your culture is about. It's how do you guys handle the things that you could get away with? Okay. And are you the trustworthy worthy company? And here's the way I look at it. Your company at all times should imagine that somebody has like a video camera up in the corner and your guys are always being surveillanced. And every decision they make, do they make the decision the same whether somebody knows about it or doesn't know about it? If that's how you operate, then I would say you have a good culture, right? If the guys, because most people operate differently when they're being watched. It's the same thing, you see people in public, and when they think that no one's watching and they can get away with something, a lot of people are assholes and they're jerks, right? Whereas many people are also kind and straightforward, right, and respectful. So, what culture are you creating, and what type of people are you hiring within your company? All right, so that's what we're going to talk about. Real quick, we'll go through this because remodeling, unless for some of you guys, you really should consider being bonded if you work in homeowners' houses. That way, if something ever disappears and the homeowner pins it on you, you're insured. Because you might have a guy on your team that's stealing from the homeowners. You don't even know about it. And that could cost you, all right, if you're not aware of it. So, like one of the scenarios I think happens a lot, especially if you do kitchens, you have a 1980s house. It's got vinyl siding on the outside. It's got that cheap builder grade window that the seals failed a long time ago, right? There's condensation. It wasn't flashed properly. It's got CDX paneling underneath the siding. I mean, it's a nightmare. And here you are, you come in, you rip out the cabinets, you tear off the appliances, your guy starts opening up the walls, getting the sheetrock out, and you notice that kitchen window has been leaking for like 20 years. And the framing is all rotted, right? The wood's rotted. I mean, it's a mess. So what do you do? Because it wasn't in your scope, right? So do you just hide it because you got to move on? Like, we're already behind schedule. We don't have time to fix that. Do you try to fix it and not charge the homeowner because you're afraid of losing the job or getting behind, or you barely got the work already because you had to underprice it so bad you don't think they have any more money? Like, what do you do? Do you write up a proper change order? How does your crew handle it? That's all part of your culture. Ideally, you find the problem, you stop, you write up the incident, you let the homeowner know this is the situation you have, this is how much it's going to cost. You have to pay for it to get it fixed in order for us to move on. But is that really how your company's going to handle it? I don't know. So we have in remodeling, you've got your culture, and they're just your habits and the standards that you guys live by, right? It has nothing to do with what you say about your company. Everyone talks about how great their company are. We're the best. We do this, we do that. Culture is really about what's it like when nobody's watching. What do you like then? If somebody cuts you off in traffic, are you the one that then has road rage, right? And then you become passive aggressive on the road? I don't know. Like, how do you handle it? That's what your culture is. Like, how do you respond when somebody does something to you that maybe you don't like? Things like that. All right. So, this gets challenging, right? Especially when you're new and you're growing your team and you're not really sure what to do. Culture gets a little bit easier from my experience, as you get older, because you will put up with less certain things, like big picture wise, and I will put up with more little things, right? Like, I won't be so concerned with like the baby things, but I'm concerned about the big picture. I want to judge a person's character first, right? And I want to make sure that for the most part, I'm dealing with somebody who's honest and respectful. That's what we're looking for in character. I get it. Everyone makes mistakes. I'm not looking for perfect. But what I don't want, and this happens a lot, especially with kids in their 20s. You have a lot of kids when they're younger, they think they can get away with everything, especially kids that have charming personalities. Like, they've learned over the years that they can manipulate their parents. And so when they get hired by you, they're going to try to manipulate you, right? This happens a lot. You got to be careful of it. You got to recognize it. And don't baby these kids, all right? All right. So you got to write down the non-negotiables in your business. Like, hey, This is how we handle the following things. If we find an issue, we address it, right? If somebody is talking in a manner that's not appropriate for our job sites, we address it. We stop them. If somebody shows up to a job site and they're out of their mind because they're on drugs, they're drunk, whatever it is, we shut it down. We have them leave the job site. They are not going to be working in that condition. And you guys all know these people. There's a lot of functioning people that will come onto a job site in an altered state, and yet they can still, for the most part, do the job. Okay. You have to ask yourself, is that what you want your company to be about? You make that call. It's not me that makes the call. You just have to ask yourself, if there's ever an incident, how's it going to be handled, perceived by the homeowner? How's your insurance going to address it, handle it? And is that the type of business, and is this the type of behavior that you guys want to be known for? Okay. Because the reality is there's a lot of people running around every day, and that's how they do their work. So you have to decide what works best for your company. And then you have to stick with your policy. You can't let the one guy who's been with you 10 years have a different set of rules than everybody else. People see right through that. Okay. So, things start with the basics. You have a meeting in the morning, you let the guys know, hey, we're going to do this today, right? Like that becomes all part of the culture. So I suggest that you build a culture around winning and being professional and elevating and showing the guys like, hey, we all might not know a lot today, but in a year from now, we're going to know this much more about building decks or remodeling kitchens, right? We're going to slowly become more and more of a professional every day. Doesn't matter where you start, it's what is your goal and where are you going to finish. You'd be shocked where you can get into 1 year from today. Maybe just take it a little bit at a time. Maybe you start contacting like 84 Lumber and you find out, hey, are you guys going to have any things where we can get some training on better ways to build decks for safety, right? Maybe you get in touch with some different product reps, manufacturers, have them come out to your job sites, teach you and your crew better ways to go about fastening the railing systems, get it better about understanding how you should be implementing all the new lighting things, right? What are the little things that you do once a month to make your business just a little bit more better? So just imagine, right? Think about it. Like literally, where are you today and where would you like to be in 6 months? And don't think about like next week, but what could you do tomorrow or this week coming up that would set you up so that your company's in a better place, a few months from now? Those are the types of things you want to think about when you're doing your culture. How can you eliminate the drama? How can you eliminate surprises, eliminate callbacks, right? How can you earn more respect, profit, and pride? So, all right. Philly, if you have any questions, please let me know. We're just about wrapping up here. Here's an AI prompt that you can put in if you like. It says, you run a residential remodeling business and you want to help build a culture that's going to help you find, retain, and keep the best people. Make it job site focused. What are 3 to 5 non-negotiable rules you want in plain language? A short speech that you can give the new guys to let them know this is how we handle surprises here. A little brief morning huddle you can break down. And what are some ideas for how you'll recognize the top performers within your company? And different tips for explaining culture differently to the different generations. You have Gen Z, you have millennials, you have Gen X. So how do you frame the message so that all those people will hear you? How do you keep it short, have some bullet points, and keep it job site friendly? It's a lot to ask, but that's what I would put into my prompt and then have it spit out a summary and work off of that. All right. So that's what I have for you tonight. And if anyone's here, let me know if you have any questions. Don't seem to, it's a little late. I know that, and I recognize that it's a little late tonight. So I see that we have a little smaller crowd. That happens. Will not be as late this week. We'll be getting on a little earlier. But yeah, anyway, that's what we got. Contractor Damon, if you're still here, if you have any questions, fire away. All right. Let's see. Any other honest. Big thing about culture is it's not necessarily what you say, it's what you. Hey, C Knowles, welcome. Yeah, we're a little late tonight. This one's going to be a little short. Thanks for hopping on. When we're talking about culture, and it's like a buzzword that people use nowadays, and I don't necessarily like the word. Only, but what I want to say is people need to know what your company is all about, like you as a person, your personality. What do you stand for? Like, are you the type of person that can be trusted in somebody's house when nobody's watching? Are you the type of person that basically acts above board? You pretend like there's always like a video camera in every room that you're ever working, and then you have to say to yourself, hey, if somebody is watching my actions at all times, can I justify them? And would I have no problems with being videotaped all the time? And then if somebody says, hey, Mike, what were you doing in these moments right here? I'd be like, well, this is what I was doing. And would you sleep well at night? Or are you the type of person that has a lot of anxiety because there's when you think no one's watching, you're doing a set of stuff that if it was later recorded and you were made aware of the video, you'd be like having a hard time justifying what your company was doing, what your guys were doing, right? I mean, that's basically what I think of when I think of culture. It's how does your company act and behave when you think no one's watching? What are you really about at the end of the day? Not what you say you're about, not what you do just when you're in front of all the homeowners and they're watching you, but how do you act when no one's around, and you're still doing the work for the homeowner in their house? So I think that your actions will speak louder than your words, specifically when it comes to the remodeling industry. And guys need to know that you're like, if they see you trying to get one over on people, take advantage of subs, take advantage of the homeowner, they're going to start wondering, like, when are you going to take advantage of me? Right? It's just like people that talk bad about other people. Everyone's sitting there going, well, this is, I'm glad you're not talking bad about me right now, but that's only because I'm standing here in the circle. What do you guys say about me the minute I leave? Because I listen to how you're talking about everybody else. So you got to think about those things, in my opinion, to build a strong culture. One where, are you only talking positive about people, when they're not around? And the biggest thing is, if you don't have anything nice to say about somebody, the best thing is really just not to say anything. And people will pick up on that. They'll recognize he never says anything about that guy. He must not like him. You're just like, yeah, I got no comment. And then you don't even have to go there. And then people will have more respect for you. So those are my thoughts. That's basically what we talked about tonight. C Knowles was just, building that culture and sort of like this. I know for me, several of my guys, when I first hired them, they felt pressure to get jobs done fast. They felt like, hey, Mike, we want this job to get done right away, and they weren't always certain how they should handle unexpected issues that found. Like, we're remodeling a kitchen, right? 1980s kitchen, siding, vinyl siding, the window seals, they're gone. The windows are builder grade, it's junk, it's needed to be replaced for 20 years. So here you are, you're doing the kitchen remodel, you take out the cabinets, the countertops, you start pulling out the sheetrock because you're going to be moving all the plumbing and electrical, and you find out that window's been leaking for 20 years. And now the framing and sheathing, it's all rotted, right? So now you got a big expense. And the homeowner, they were already at the max budget when they hired you, and you know this. So what do? Right? Do you try to fix it and not tell them? or not charge them? Do you just not say anything because you just want to move the job along? Or do you just bring it up and say, hey, Mr. and Miss Smith, unfortunately, this is the problem we have, you know? Or what if one of your guys damages something by mistake? You know, does he say something? Do you say something? Do you guys not? I don't know. I mean, how do you handle it? That's culture. Anyway, that's what tonight's talk was about. Be happy to discuss anything if you have any questions. Otherwise, we'll just have a short session and move on. Philly, I don't know if I know you, if you've been on before or not, but please, by all means, let me know where you're from, what you do, if you have any questions. All right. And C. Knowles, you know, by all means, if you have any questions or anything you want to discuss, let me know. Yeah, if you go, so here's the way that YouTube works. You have to go to workshops. And then when you go under workshops, you'll see the lives. So I have 2 sets under there. I did a 50 some day challenge a while back. So you'll see like 54 episodes there. Then I started this one new. So, and today we're on day 56. So these should be at the top. Okay. And then the old ones fall down to the bottom. Yep. But they're all there. Now, from what I'm hearing from the way YouTube works, for whatever reason, when I hit end tonight on the live, it processes. And sometimes, from what I'm being told, that video might not even be live for like 12 or 20. I don't know. It takes a while. I don't understand why. I guess they have to review it, or the computer does something. I don't understand it. But it takes a while for that live to show up. So today's, or the live that I'm doing right now, it might not be live for you to view for several more hours. Okay. But as far as I know, all the other ones are available right now. So yeah. And usually it's always the same format. The first like 12 minutes, I'm trying to just run you through the content, let you know, sharing what I've learned. And then the rest of the time is more like the discussion, people asking questions. The only challenge that we're running into right now is I get a lot more questions on TikTok than I do on YouTube, which is cool. I share the screen on YouTube. That's where the recordings go. So you won't always be able to see the question being asked if you're on. Well, whatever. But I don't know. But if you just want the content, it's there. So, anyway. But yeah. You guys got anything going on? Today was pretty standard. We had beautiful weather here. What did I do? I went to we're building a new mailbox for our house, so I went and got some 4x4 and some cedar. Going to make like a cedar base and got some concrete. I don't know. I don't know when I'm going to actually build it, but I went and got all the material. I want the pressure treated post to dry out. I want to stain the post black so that the parts that are exposed, you can see them. And then the cedar, we want to make that nice and red, or reddish tone to it. So we're going to hopefully let that stuff dry out for a week or two. Went to like Costco, bought groceries. I mean, regular old stuff, nothing real exciting here today. I've been working on some new content. Going to try get some new different topics coming out this week for videos. I'm working on the app for right now. We're specifically working on getting AI to help with kitchen remodels. So I got a couple meetings this week to do that. But anyway, that's the kind of stuff I'm working on. I mean, you guys have anything fun or exciting or challenging, let me know if you need assistance with anything. Um, I'm in the process of finalizing I've written a small book on remodeling sales to help guys. Help me understand. What do you straight through? So, see, Knowles, I can share this. Like, you know, I make these. What I typically look to do is I know the content that I'm talking to you live about, right? And then I would like to try to make some short videos that I think hits on some of the same topics, right? I don't always get the one challenge is this. I only talk about really one topic per day on the live. And many days I'm looking to try to put out at least 2, maybe 3 videos, short ones, like a minute or so. So yeah, I'm not doing as much construction work right now. I've been focused recently. I've been shifting more and more to doing the content, right? So I mean, like, yeah, there's some small projects, but yes, that's sort of the plan at the moment. So if you understand that what has happened over the last few years, I I was getting as I was growing my construction company, I was asked, I was getting help. I had a business coach, and he was helping me with general business acumen, right? General business principles. He was not a remodeler. I had 2 different coaches I was talking with. One was in construction, one was not. The one who was not asked me if I could help him with one of his other clients. He had a husband and wife, and they had a remodeling business. They were looking to grow it because now their kids were joining in the business. They had 2 daughters, two sons, 2 daughters. I don't know if both sons wanted, anyway, and they had people from their church, whatever. It was a lot of people that they were wanting to provide an income for, and they were struggling. So I went over and started coaching them, and actually went in and helped run their business for them. And the success of that is what transitioned me to start doing more of this type of work. When I saw, like, this was a husband and wife, they'd been doing their business for 20 years, and they were getting by, they were making money, but they weren't like really making money, right? Like they were still sort of, how do I put it? They didn't have a good retirement benefit set up, right? They had to keep working if they wanted to keep living, basically, and living the same lifestyle. So the goal was to come in and help them get this business to where it could really start providing them savings, retirement. And we moved them out of their house. We went and secured some contracts with big box stores like Home Depot's, Lowe's, to get them installs, because they had a good network of people. They could handle hundreds of kitchen and bathroom models a year. So we just exploded that and set that up. So we went and found a warehouse to rent. We went and found an office to relocate to, started training more subs, and secured the contract with the big box store to get into like 16 locations. Now we're talking hundreds of kitchens and baths. Had to come up with processes so that we could move through these like that. It's the only way you can, do that type of volume. Anyway, that's what started transitioning this type of work to where I start. And then I've created the groups to help, as I'm helping more and more remodelers and contractors with their business. There's been less time to focus on still doing as much of it for myself. So yeah, that's kind of what's the transitioning period is. So still some, but not as much. Like I still have to be out there because I want to keep it relative. Like I'll give you an example. Earlier this summer, we were doing a basement for a homeowner, and I made a big mistake. We were removing the carpet from the entire basement, except they had this one room, and we were supposed to leave the carpet in the room, but we were still like redoing all the paint. We were painting the whole place. We were putting up like some big screen TVs, relocating some wiring and running, moving things around, creating a game room. And I remember I showed up and was giving the guys some direction, and I made a mistake, and I got confused, and I told the guys to rip the carpet out of this bedroom, and it was wrong. It was supposed to stay, right? And so here I am, I'm talking, and it was because I didn't pull up my scope of work. I tried to go off of my memory from when I sold the job, and I got confused, right? So that's why sometimes by me still doing some of the work, it helps me stay relative by saying like, hey guys, this happens. Like you have to stick with your own policies, and sometimes the owner of the company is the one that makes the most mistakes because they think they know better, and I'd be frustrated if one of the guys did that for sure. I'd be like, what were you doing? Why didn't you you should have had the scope of work with you? Why didn't you go back over it with the homeowner? And it was me. I was the project manager on that job, and I messed it up. So it happens. But the good news is, this channel's been growing. I have that remodelers helping remodelers. That group's growing. We got the remodel rebels. So um, there's plenty of there's good things happening. Anyway, any other questions? What do you guys got? Any projects coming up? You want any objections you're hearing? Trying to figure out what to do, what direction to take your company. I have a nephew I'm working with right now. We're trying to get him to start in the power washing business. Him and a buddy of his from high school, they just went around their neighborhood and started telling neighbors that they would like do detail work, like they clean cars, whatever. And these kids are crushing it, making some serious money. So now he's getting ready to graduate, and we're looking at seeing about him maybe starting his own power washing business to get started. It's funny, right? Because you'll see guys on this channel all the time saying that it's so hard to get work, and they're just not doing the simple things. Like there is so much work out there. You just have to go out and not be afraid to ask for it. So anyway, that's what. But yeah, so sometimes what the funny thing is when you're young, you don't know any better, so you just go out and do the dumb things that a lot of us older guys think that'll never work, and it does work, right? You have to sometimes the older guys have to be reminded, you may not like doing it, you may not want to do it, but it works. Believe me. So if you're not busy, you need to just get out there and knock on some doors, go out and shake some hands, introduce yourself to a few more people. The other day I got to go out and I'm working with some kitchen designers, and it was a really good experience. I got to get around a bunch more designers and a bunch more remodelers and just hear, the struggles that they're having. And some of these younger kitchen designers are just crushing it right now. I mean, they have a nice social media account, and the amount of business that they are self-generating. Now they work for a company, but they are bringing in a ton of business for themselves and the company. They get paid a slightly different commission when they self-generate their leads. And man, if you have a nice presence and you can figure out, you can even hire a company if you don't want to be the person, but if you can just get a basic social media process down, you'd be shocked where you could be in 6 months. Two of these are girls in the kitchen design space, and they are just crushing it. In fact, what's even crazier is they basically sell the kitchen for the remodeler that they work with. So what he's doing is he just has the homeowner meet with the designer, and the designer visits, comes up with the design, the plan. She even talks about the budget with him. The remodeler, he just lets her sell the whole process. It's crazy, but it's working really well. They have a good partnership together. So again, for guys out there, if you're struggling, you just, I don't know how to explain it other than be open to trying some of these different concepts and ways. You'd be shocked. You know, some people are really good at helping you sell your jobs if you let them. Anyway, um, that's pretty much all I have, guys. So I appreciate you being on here. I'm not seeing any questions come through, so I'll probably bounce here in a minute. I haven't seen anybody else join. Let's see. All right. Thank you for being here. Again, if you have any questions, pop them in. Otherwise, well, listen, I wish you guys a great night and a good start to the week here. Go out and be crushing it, and hopefully you'll finish the year strong. So appreciate you being here, and thanks for supporting the channel. You guys have a good night.